nouveau à Minneapolis. Tempo Afrique Travel. Vous voulez voyager? Achetez vos billets d'avion à l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, pas de problème de connexion, pas de problème de transfert de vol. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, c'est le voyage en toute tranquillité, en toute beauté, de votre maison jusqu'à votre destination. Votre satisfaction est notre plaisir.
Premium Law Access. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Uche Waneri. I am the co-founder of Premium Law Firm. Our offices are located in Houston, Texas and St. Paul, Minnesota. However, we are into the business of, we practice solely business law and immigration law. As far as immigration law, we are able to represent our clients all over the world, and wherever you live in the United States, we're able to help you or assist you with your immigration matters. Now, last week, I had discussed different ways to maintain your status in the United States. Today, we have another exciting topic, and that is how to adjust your status in the United States. Essentially, what that means is how to obtain your green card in the United States. So as usual, I am going to clarify some terms I'm going to be using throughout the program, and I'm a permanent resident status. It is a card that's evidencing that, and what it means is you're allowed to live and work in the United States permanently. That's what a green card means. Now, regarding where you should obtain a green card, you can obtain a green card in the United States or outside the United States. So if you are outside the United States, it will be called consular processing. And when you are in the United States, we call that adjustment of status. That is the process. And that's really the difference. But in all, it is just obtaining your green card. So now I'm going to tell you about how to obtain a green card. I'm going to tell you 10 main ways of obtaining a green card. But before that, I am going to tell you, one, before you can obtain a green card, you have to fit into an eligibility category. What does that mean? It means that you have to fall into a special immigrant category. And I'm going to explain that during the course of this presentation. So, one, when you fit into any of the immigrant categories, it could fit into more than one, but depending on your situation, you can choose either one. Then you can also realize, well, how long will this adjustment of status be for? That's your green card. Usually an adjustment of status or your green card will be for 2 years if it is granted, or for 10 years if it is granted. So if it's for 2 years, you'll have to apply for renewal or for removal of the conditions within 90 days before it expires. You are supposed to do that. And if you don't do that, you will be in violation and you may lose your green card status entirely. So now, how is the green card applied for? You may self-petition or someone can apply for you. There are the two ways you can apply for a green card. And then before you can qualify for adjusting or obtaining your green card in the United States, you are expected to have entered into the country legally. What do I mean by that? You ought to have been inspected and admitted into the United States. And I guess, what does that mean again? So inspected means if you have a visa to enter the United States, it could be a non-immigrant visa, you would have presented yourself at the airport. At the airport, you would have been inspected, and after inspection by the Custom and Border Patrol, they will now issue you with an I-94. That's a stamp in your passport telling you how long you can stay. So with that, you are able to adjust to a green card, or you're able to adjust your status. You're able to obtain a green card when you come into the United States. Another scenario when you can when you're able to get a green card is, assuming you are fleeing from persecution in your home country, and you present yourself at the border, at the port of entry, and you present yourself before an immigration officer, telling the immigration officer that you want to apply for asylum. After screening you, and you maybe whatever papers you have, and finds that you have credible fear, the officer may grant you parole. So with that parole, you will be deemed to have been inspected and been paroled into the United States. When you enter the United States based on a parole, you're able to adjust your status, you're able to apply for a green card. So now, when you apply for a green card, it all depends on when you apply. You can only apply if there's a visa available. And a visa will only be available based on the priority date that it will depend on, that it's going to depend on when you actually apply. So you have to, for some, visas are readily available, but for some, you really have to be in queue and wait for your priority date. So for your dependents, that's your wife and your children under 21, they can still apply with you, but they are not supposed to do a separate application. They are going to be your dependents, and they will be they'll be derivatives from your own application. The next question will be, what if I lose my green card? Does that mean I have lost my status, green card status, or lawful permanent resident status? No. Green card is only an evidence of your lawful permanent residence status. It is not saying that once you lose your card, then you've lost your permanent resident status. However, there are scenarios where you can lose your permanent resident status. That is, you can lose your green card status. And here are a few. First is, with the green card, it is deemed that you are living and working in the United States permanently. So when you travel, whether to your home country or to anywhere, and you stay for an extended period of time, you could lose your green card by doing that. Also, if you have criminal activities in your record, you can lose your green card by that. Another scenario would be where you are, another scenario will be where during your application for the green card, you told lies. You misrepresented some facts. You committed fraud. Even if you've had your green card for several years, it could still be revoked. Another scenario will be where, like in the 2-year green card, the conditional residency, when you don't apply to remove those conditions, your green card can be revoked. So what am I saying? You don't want to fall into any of these groups, because the fact that you have a green card does not mean that it's going to stick with you forever. If you don't stick with the immigration terms, granting you that lawful permanent resident status, your green card can be revoked. So you'd want to avoid all these scenarios. So now I'm going to tell you about the 10 ways when you can apply for a green card. The first will be you can apply for a green card through your family. Well, with family, I'm going to tell you there are two distinctions. They're going to fall into the immediate family, immediate relative, and other relative. So who is really your immediate relative? Your immediate relative will be, one, as a U.S. citizen. Your immediate citizen, your immediate relative will be your spouse, your child under 21 years, and if you are a child or a son or daughter wanting to apply for your parents, you must be at least 21 years. So these three categories, these three groups of people do not have to wait for an immigrant visa to be available. They are always available. Also, these three groups I have mentioned are your immediate family. Your immediate relatives, they can apply at any time, and it is only applicable to US citizens. So the other group I mentioned is the other relative. And this other relative will be the US citizen or the lawful permanent resident. So as a US citizen, you're going to pay attention to two groups. And this time, I'm not going to be saying a child. When you're over 21, you're going to become a son or daughter when it comes to immigration. So, or the other relative will be an unmarried son or daughter of a US citizen who is 21 years and older. Also, where you have a married son and daughter. So of these, if you are of the a US citizen can petition for his family members, but unlike the immediate family relative category, you'd have to wait till a visa number becomes available. Now pay close attention to this. When it comes to a lawful permanent resident, a lawful permanent resident can petition for a green card for his family members, and these will be his spouse, his or her spouse, his child, unmarried child under 21 years. He can also petition for his unmarried son or daughter over 21 years. However, a permanent resident cannot apply or petition for a green card for his parents, his or her parents. And a permanent resident cannot apply for a green card for the unmarried son, for his or her own unmarried son or daughter. So it's important to note these distinctions, to know that even though they're part of your family, you can't apply for them. Now, for the US citizen, you can apply for your brother and sister. You can apply as long as you are related, whether biologically. You can apply for your brother and sister. I will now go on to the next visa category, and that will be the second visa category. And, well, this is still under the family. This will be a fiancé or fiance visa. Now, the fiancé visa means that you are coming in here, you have been admitted into the country under a fiancé visa. When you come in, you are eligible to apply for a green card. Also, if you are a widow or widower of a US citizen, you are eligible to apply for a green card so long as you were married before your spouse passed away. Also, you have the VAWA. VAWA is when you are a victim of violence. When you're a victim of violence, you're eligible to apply for a green card. And in this instance, this is one instance where you can apply for yourself. You don't need anyone to apply for you. You can self-petition. So as an abused victim, the abused spouse of a US citizen or a lawful permanent resident can apply for a green card. Also, the abused child who is unmarried under 21 years of a US citizen or a lawful permanent resident can apply for a green card. And an abused parent of a US citizen can apply for a green card. And all of these are all self-petitions. You don't need your spouse or anybody else to apply for you. You can apply on your own. So we now go to the next category, which is the getting your green card through employment. So this falls in, depending on what your qualification is. You have your employer applying for you, and in some instances, you can also self-petition. So in one of the scenarios where the employer has to apply for you is if you have extraordinary abilities, whether in the sciences, the arts, in business, in athletics, in education, you can apply for a green card. Also, if you are an outstanding professor or professional, you can apply for a green card. If you're a multinational executive or a manager, you can apply for a green card. If you have exceptional ability in arts, in business, and in education, you can also apply for a green card. Then there's another category where you can apply for a green card on your own. You can self-petition. And this scenario is where you have an advanced degree and you're able to contribute to the United States economy by either creating jobs or having an endeavor which you think will, or convince which you believe will create jobs in the United States. It's called the National Interest Waiver. You can apply for a green card because this is through self-petition. You can petition for yourself and you really don't need a job offer or a labor certification in order to apply for a green card. So if you're a skilled worker, if you're a professional, and if you are an unskilled worker, you can also apply for a green card. So what does this tell you? You would have come into the United States lawfully with a visa, and then that way you're able to adjust your status and you're able to obtain a green card. The third scenario category will be when you're a doctor. It is called the Physician National Interest Waiver. So if you're a doctor and you work full-time in a clinical practice where you have underserved population, you can apply for a green card. You also can apply for a green card if you are an immigrant investor. An investor means that you're able to invest, and the amount will depend on what kind of venture you want to invest in. If you're investing in your own venture, your own enterprise, where you're not using a regional center, the minimum amount is 1.8 million. If you have that kind of money and you want to invest in the United States, yes, you can obtain a green card. And that will be for you, your spouse, and your children under 21. If you tend to and saying, I don't want to do anything with the business, I don't want to manage the business, I just want to invest and I want a green card, you are able to, but the minimum amount will be $900,000. With that, you're able to obtain a green card. Again, for you, your spouse, and your children under 21. The next category will be a religious worker. And who exactly is a religious worker? So if you have a religious visa and you are admitted into the country to come here to work for a non-profit organization, you're able to apply for an immigrant visa. You're able to apply for a green card and adjust your status to a green card. Now, what number are we on? Number 6. The 6th category will be an asylee. So if you're in the United States and you have applied for asylum and your asylum has been granted, after 1 year, you can apply for a green card. Also, if you are a refugee and you were admitted into the country as a refugee, you can apply for a green card after 1 year. The next category is a victim of human trafficking. So if you come into the country with a T visa, you can apply for a green card. And so the next one I'll be talking to you about will be the U visa. U will be, if you are in the country and you're a victim of crime. Now, it's not just going to be any crime. It has to be a qualifying criminal activity. If you are such a victim, regardless of how you entered, whether with a visa or without a visa, you will be able to apply for a green card. The ninth category would be the diversity visa lottery. And the diversity visa lottery would be if you are in the United States and you are in good status and you win the diversity visa lottery or you are selected, yes, you can adjust your status to a green card holder. So the diversity visa lottery again is a lottery based on random selection based on the representation of countries in the United States. So I'll encourage you to see if your country qualifies, and if it qualifies, I'll encourage you to apply. It's an easy process, and you might be lucky, you never know. The last would be, and this is really specific to Liberians. So if you're from Liberia, it's called the Liberian Refugee Immigration Fairness. And what this is if you are from Liberia and you have lived physically and continuously in the United States since November 20th of 2014, you can apply for a green card. So, what does that tell you? There are so many options, and you have to see where you fall into. And this will bring me to the end of my presentation. And before I go, or before I let you go, I have a practical tip. And this week, the practical tip is, when do you engage the services of an immigration attorney? Here's what I'll tell you. And this is not just because I'm an immigration attorney. I am just telling you from experience. People kind of shy away or say, you know what, I don't want to engage the services of an immigration attorney because they're so expensive. And they think that the proper time to engage an attorney is when they have a problem. So I am telling you at this time, I'm encouraging you, if you decide and say, at one point I might want to use an attorney, please do so early enough. You're going to save yourself much more. And here's why. So many attorneys are offering consultations, free consultations. Make use of that. Ask your question and make sure you're on the right path. Don't submit your applications and implicate yourself, and then when you get a denial or notice of intent to deny, or a request for evidence, or request to or intent to revoke your green card, then you say, okay, now let me go and contact the attorney. Yes, the attorney will help you, but it's going to be more expensive, and this is what you have been avoiding in the first instance. So I'll encourage you, if you ever think that you're going to use an attorney, do so early enough. Make use of the free consultations and make sure you're on the right path. You don't want to make very costly mistakes. So thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. I will welcome your input, your comments, and please feel free to share with your friends, your family, or anybody who might be interested in immigration services. And more so, I would encourage you to also subscribe to Tempo Africa. This is a very valuable resource, and you really would want to make the most of it. Thank you, and hope to see you next week. Bye.
Nouveau à Minneapolis, Tempo Afrique Travel. Vous voulez voyager? Achetez vos billets d'avion à l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, pas de problème de connexion, pas de problème de transfert de vol. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, C'est le voyage en toute tranquillité, en toute beauté, de votre maison jusqu'à votre destination. Votre satisfaction est notre plaisir.